Welcome to the streets of Italy, where fashion meets everyday life and every corner tells a story of style. Street style in Milan this season perfectly balances comfort and sophistication, with women confidently pairing sneakers with tailored blazers for a chic, modern look. The city of Milan greets you like an old friend, graceful and confident, wrapped in a golden glow as the sun falls gently on its streets. The first thing you notice is not the monuments, not the cars, not even the sound of the trams running along their tracks. It is the people. Their movements carry a rhythm. Their clothes speak a language of quiet refinement. And suddenly you understand. In Milan, style is not just something people wear, it is something they breathe. Every corner, every cafe, every small square seems like a stage where elegance plays the lead role. It is impossible to speak about Milani's style without touching its history. After the devastation of the Second World War, Europe needed renewal, and Italy, with its artisans, its fabrics, and its deep tradition of beauty, became the perfect place for reinvention. Unlike Paris, where fashion meant haute couture designed for special evenings and dramatic entrances, Milani's fashion was born from practicality. Women needed clothes to work, to walk, to live, and designers like Armani, Versace, and later Prada gave them exactly that. Their creations were not made to stay in closets, but to move through the world. This philosophy, combining functionality with refinement, remains at the core of Milani's fashion even today. the fashion district, the Quadrilatero della Moda, you quickly realize it is more than just a collection of luxury boutiques. The streets themselves seem designed to highlight beauty. Via Monte Napoleone, the crown jewel of Milan shopping, carries names known all over the world: Gucci, Bottega Veneta, Dolce & Gabbana. But the real show is not in the windows, it is in the people who walk past them. Women in their 50s, 60s, even 70s stroll with quiet grace. Their scarves float lightly in the breeze, their coats are perfectly tailored, and their shoes balance comfort with elegance. They do not try to impress with extravagance. Instead, they exude a confidence that only grows with age. In Milan, getting older does not mean fading away. It means glowing brighter with deeper colors and stronger textures. Spend a little more time here and you will begin to notice the details. The fabrics are chosen carefully, the colors are deliberate, the accessories are never accidental. A simple pearl necklace worn with a cashmere sweater or a silk scarf draped just right over a beige trench coat transforms an ordinary afternoon stroll into a moment of art. The Milani's approach to style has always been about precision. Where others may seek to stand out by being louder, Milani's women stand out by being exact. But the real show is not in the windows, it is in the people who walk past them. Women in their 50s, 60s, even 70s stroll with quiet grace. Their scarves float lightly in the breeze, their coats are perfectly tailored, and their shoes balance comfort with elegance. They do not try to impress with extravagance. Instead, they exude a confidence that only grows with age. In Milan, getting older does not mean fading away. It means glowing brighter with deeper colors and stronger textures. Spend a little more time here and you will begin to notice the details. The fabrics are chosen carefully, the colors are deliberate, the accessories are never accidental. A simple pearl necklace worn with a cashmere sweater or a silk scarf draped just right over a beige trench coat transforms an ordinary afternoon stroll into a moment of art. The Milani's approach to style has always been about precision. Where others may seek to stand out by being louder, Milani's women stand out by being exact. But there is also warmth in this exactness. Step into a cafe in Brera, one of Milan's artistic neighborhoods, and you will see groups of friends, many over 55, sitting together with laughter and conversation, dressed not in anything extravagant, but in clothes that radiate dignity. A soft cardigan, a tailored skirt, a bag polished from years of use. Milani's fashion does not discard easily, it values longevity. A good coat may serve its owner for 20 years, aging alongside her, carrying the stories of countless winters and evenings out. In this way, clothes become companions, not mere possessions. Part of what makes Milan so fascinating is its ability to balance luxury with comfort. Here, women do not suffer for fashion. Instead, they find ways to enjoy it. A pair of clean white sneakers worn with a flowing linen dress looks just as chic as high heels, and perhaps more authentically Milanese. The handbag might be from Prada, the sunglasses from Armani, but the overall effect is never stiff. Milan teaches us that elegance should feel like freedom, not like a cage. The numbers behind this culture are as striking as the visuals. Milan is home to over 12,000 fashion companies, 800 showrooms, and thousands of stores. During Fashion Week, the city becomes a magnet for the entire world. Designers, models, editors, and photographers fill the hotels and cafes, yet even then, the best lesson in style can be learned by watching the everyday people. Sit by the Duomo and simply observe. You will see women of every age carrying themselves with poise, their clothes telling stories of refinement and heritage. For them, fashion is not performance, it is identity. The architecture of Milan contributes to this feeling. The city is a tapestry of history and modernity. Gothic cathedrals next to glass skyscrapers, Renaissance palaces beside contemporary galleries. The fashion mirrors this duality. Women combine classic coats with modern sneakers, timeless pearls with avant-garde jackets. In doing so, they embody the very essence of Milan, rooted in tradition, yet open to the future. For women over 55, this atmosphere is liberating. Many parts of the world suggest that fashion belongs to the young, but in Milan, it belongs to everyone. Wrinkles are not flaws, they are lines of poetry. Silver hair is not something to hide, it is a crown that pairs beautifully with a perfectly cut blazer. Age brings freedom, and Milanese women use that freedom to refine their elegance. They no longer dress to please others, but to honor themselves. And that, perhaps, is the ultimate secret of Milanese style. As the sun sets and the marble of the Duomo blushes in the evening light, the streets glow with another kind of beauty. Friends meet for aperitivo, glasses of wine and small plates of food appearing on every table. And once again, the clothes tell a story. A woman in her 60s, wearing a navy blue dress with a single gold bracelet, walks past another in a cream-colored coat with matching gloves. They smile as they cross paths, their elegance understated but undeniable. In this city, the older you get, the more your style seems to carry weight, presence, and authority. It is not a fading flame, but a growing fire. Of Milan continues into the night, but its heartbeat remains the same. Elegance carried lightly, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. When you walk through the Navili district, where canals glisten under soft lamplight, you see couples strolling arm in arm, friends gathering after a long day, and women whose outfits look effortlessly harmonious with the setting. A linen blouse tucked neatly into tailored trousers, a string of pearls glowing under the lights, a scarf in muted colors that picks up the reflection of the water. The impression is not of someone trying to be noticed, but of someone entirely at ease with herself. That is the Milanese ideal, to let clothes express confidence without ever screaming for attention. This subtle power has deep roots in the city's culture. Milan has always been a city of work, of industry, of ambition. It is not a stage for flamboyant drama like Rome or a postcard of romance like Venice. Milanese fashion reflects that industrious spirit. It is refined but grounded, ambitious but wearable. In the offices of the city, in its galleries and universities, in its theaters, and even in its markets, style accompanies daily life rather than overshadowing it. You can imagine a 60-year-old professor leaving her lecture, her simple wool coat brushing against her handbag, her glasses framed just so, looking like an illustration from an old fashion magazine. She is not dressing to impress, she is dressing because elegance is her second nature. There is also a fascinating philosophy in Milan about investment. Clothes are not bought impulsively, but chosen carefully, almost ceremonially. A woman may spend months considering
share my pillow and rain, rain, go away. I wanna hear about everything you're ever thinking. You know that I can take the truth forget your time.
Cut of a jacket, the weight of a coat, or the stitching on a pair of shoes. When she buys them, she keeps them for years, even decades. The result is a wardrobe that tells a life story. Each piece holds memories: the dress worn to her daughter's wedding, the coat that has seen 20 winters, the silk blouse that has accompanied countless dinners with friends. This continuity creates a harmony that no fast fashion can imitate. Milanese style also embraces imperfection in a very human way. While everything appears refined, nothing is overdone. A scarf may be tied loosely, a jacket left slightly unbuttoned, a strand of silver hair left free to catch the wind. This soft imperfection makes the elegance approachable, human, and warm. Unlike the stiff perfection seen in glossy magazines, Milanese fashion breathes. It moves with the wearer and adapts to the moment. Consider for a moment the cafes of Corso Como. Sit down with a cappuccino and watch the passers-by. You might see a woman in her late 50s wearing wide-legged trousers, a simple white blouse, and a trench coat the color of sand. She wears no heavy jewelry, only a small silver pendant. Yet she radiates sophistication because everything she wears fits perfectly, not just her body, but her life. Then you see another, perhaps in her early 70s, with neatly styled silver hair, an oversized blazer in soft gray, comfortable leather loafers, and sunglasses that frame her face. There is nothing excessive here, yet you feel compelled to look. Milanese women understand that true style is never about decoration. It is about presence. Even beyond clothing, the Milanese way of life contributes to this atmosphere of elegance. The daily rituals themselves feel like part of a fashion story. The morning espresso taken at the bar, the leisurely lunch where conversations flow as smoothly as the wine, the evening aperitivo that turns an ordinary hour into a celebration. Each of these rituals has its own dress code, not written, but understood. A woman steps out for her morning coffee not in gem clothes, but in trousers and a blouse, polished shoes, perhaps a scarf tied around her neck. It is not formality, it is respect, for herself, for the city, for the moment. The global influence of this philosophy cannot be overstated. Milan Fashion Week, held twice a year, does not just introduce new collections, it shapes the way the world thinks about clothes. Yet what surprises many visitors is that the most lasting impressions often come not from the runways, but from the sidewalks outside. The editors, buyers, and tourists all notice the same thing: Milanese women, of every age, displaying a level of refinement that cannot be staged. Fashion here is lived, not performed. And when those visitors return to New York, Tokyo, or London, they carry with them the memory of that effortless elegance, inspiring trends far beyond Italy's borders. is also worth noting how Milanese style interacts with the seasons. In summer, linen trousers, light dresses, and straw bags dominate, always in soft, neutral shades. In autumn, the palette shifts toward warm browns, olive greens, and deep blues, expressed through cashmere sweaters, leather boots, and coats that drape like armor against the chill. Winter brings layers, wool coats, thick scarves, gloves in muted tones. By spring, lighter fabrics return, often with delicate floral prints that echo the rebirth of the season. Each cycle shows the city's respect for both practicality and beauty. And women, particularly those over 55, understand the art of seasonal dressing better than anyone. They do not abandon style for comfort, they merge the two until they become inseparable. In many ways, Milan offers a lesson not just in fashion, but in philosophy. It tells us that growing older does not mean losing relevance, quite the opposite. In this city, the elegance of a woman deepens with time, just like a fine Italian wine or a leather handbag that grows more beautiful with age. The creases in a smile, the silver in the hair, the calm in the eyes, all these are part of the outfit, as essential as the coat or the shoes. Style in Milan is not a mask to hide behind, it is a mirror reflecting who you truly are. As the evening stretches on, you might walk past La Scala, Milan's legendary opera house. The audience arriving for a performance becomes a show of its own. Older couples dressed in dark, tailored coats, women with delicate shawls resting on their shoulders, men in perfectly polished shoes. The entire scene feels like a painting, timeless, dignified, and rich with atmosphere. You realize, standing there, that fashion in Milan is never just about fabric. It is about respect, for tradition, for craftsmanship, and above all, for oneself. magic of Milan is that style does not exist only in boutiques or on catwalks. It is alive in the rhythm of daily life. Take a walk early in the morning when the city is still waking up. Street sweepers clean the cobblestones, cafes open their doors, and women step out for errands or appointments. Even here, in these simple moments, there is a sense of intention in the way they dress. A woman in her late 60s might wear a crisp white shirt, neatly tucked into navy trousers, with loafers that have molded perfectly to her feet over years of wear. Another, perhaps a grandmother walking her grandchild to school, wears a soft cardigan over a floral blouse, with a small leather handbag that has clearly been loved for decades. These details matter because they reveal that elegance is not for special occasions in Milan, it is for life itself. This philosophy of everyday refinement has ancient roots. Milan has long been a city of artisans. Leatherworkers, tailors, silk weavers all contributed to a culture where craftsmanship was valued above all. That heritage remains visible today in the way people buy and wear clothes. When a Milanese woman chooses a handbag, she does not only see a fashion item, she sees the hands that stitched it, the tradition behind the design, the durability that will carry it through the years. That respect for craftsmanship adds depth to the style. It is not about owning many things, but about owning things that matter. There is also something poetic about the way Milanese women adapt style to their lives, rather than adapting their lives to style. Many cities impose trends that require constant change, constant reinvention. But in Milan, a woman builds her own timeless wardrobe and lets it evolve slowly with her. A coat she wore in her 40s still serves her in her 60s, paired now with a different scarf, a different pair of shoes, a different chapter of her story. This continuity gives Milanese fashion a soul. It is not about erasing the past, it is about carrying it gracefully into the present. Spend time in the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II, the grand shopping arcade with its glass dome and mosaic floors, and you will see another expression of this philosophy. Tourists rush in and out of luxury stores, but local women stroll at their own pace. Their elegance is understated, almost quiet, yet it commands more attention than the glittering displays around them. A well-cut blazer, pearl earrings, a handbag held confidently in hand, nothing flashy, but everything intentional. They show that the true essence of Milanese fashion is not luxury for its own sake, but the harmony between self and clothing. also important to notice how Milanese women embrace aging with such grace. In many parts of the world, older women are encouraged to dress younger, as if style belongs only to the young. In Milan, the opposite is true. A 65-year-old woman wears her age proudly, choosing clothes that highlight her experience rather than hide it. Soft fabrics, neutral colors, and timeless accessories create a sense of dignity that youth cannot replicate. There is beauty in this confidence, a beauty that deepens with every passing year. Watching these women walk through the piazzas is like watching living works of art, each one unique, each one carrying her own history. The role of accessories in this culture deserves special mention. A scarf in Milan is never just a piece of fabric, it is a signature. Wrapped around the neck, tied to a handbag, or draped across the shoulders, it adds both warmth and identity. Jewelry is chosen with the same care. Instead of overwhelming collections, Milanese women often wear a single piece that carries meaning. A gold ring from a husband, a necklace inherited from a mother, a brooch that has passed through generations. These objects are more than decorations, they are symbols, connecting past and present in a quiet conversation. Wander into the Brera district in the late afternoon, and you will see artists, students, and families mixing in a neighborhood that feels like a village within the city. Here, style takes on a softer, more relaxed expression, yet it remains unmistakably Milanese. Women sip wine at small tables, their outfits reflecting both comfort and elegance. chiffon skirt paired with a cotton blouse, a cardigan thrown casually over the shoulders, sandals that allow for a long evening walk. The atmosphere is intimate, but the style is never neglected. In Brera, even relaxation has elegance woven into it. This attitude extends to the way Milanese women approach color. While trends elsewhere may shift toward bold experiments, Milan prefers a palette of subtle sophistication. Beige, gray, navy, cream, and black dominate, often accented by a single color, perhaps a red scarf, a green handbag, or a pair of blue shoes. This restraint is what makes Milani's style timeless. It avoids the noise of constant change and instead cultivates harmony. A woman in her 70s wearing a camel coat and black trousers may look just as modern as a woman in her 20s because the language of Milani's fashion does not age. The respect for tradition, the emphasis on quality, the embrace of age, and the balance of luxury with comfort, these are not just habits, but values. Milan teaches that fashion is not about replacing yourself with someone new every season. It is about refining yourself, slowly, year after year, until your style and your soul are indistinguishable. This truth speaks especially to women over 55, who often feel overlooked by the fashion industry elsewhere. In Milan, they are not overlooked, they are celebrated. They are the guardians of elegance, the ones who show the younger generation how to carry themselves with poise. As dusk settles and lights begin to glow in the city's windows, the elegance of Milan becomes even more pronounced. In the Navili district, canals shimmer under reflections of bridges and lanterns while friends gather for dinner. At every table, style is present. A woman adjusts her scarf before taking a seat, another slips off her gloves with practiced grace, and another laughs as she leans back, her jewelry catching the light. These moments are not staged, yet they feel cinematic. Milan has a way of turning ordinary evenings into timeless scenes, simply because its people carry themselves with such innate elegance. That was a full hour of Italian street fashion, showcasing the trends that define 2025. Don't forget to subscribe and follow for more global style inspirations.
Sign me up and tell me about the people that you know who are trying to feel alive.